You're listening to the Weekend Sport Podcast with Jason Pine from News Talk ZB.
This time every Sunday, give or take a couple of minutes either side, we get the pleasure of the company of James McOnie, and today no exception. Hello, mate.
G'day, how's it going, Piney?
James, it's going great. It's going great, thanks. Tennis, you a tennis fan? You watch the Aussie Open?
Yeah, big tennis fan. I've always enjoyed it from way back in the day, watching Bjorn Borg and McEnroe and Wimbledon. That does date me a little bit, but the modern game is still outstanding, yes.
Do you are you one of those who would have liked to have seen Novak Djokovic go through and just continue this incredible run of his at the Australian Open, or are you quite okay and quite happy, in fact, to see a couple of different blokes slugging it out tonight in the men's final?
Yeah, I'm all right with it. I think it's good to make him wait. He's had a lot of luck at the Australian Open. He won one 5-set final against Nadal, which just went so into the wee hours. And it almost felt like Nadal had won that game. And even his speech at the end, he was kind of saying, you could see the crowd just saying, well, you're the one we wanted to win, Rafa. Unfortunately, we got this other guy. But now, at 36, getting knocked out by Yannick Sinner, an Italian with the least Italian name of all time, it's just changing things, isn't it?
The other thing about Yannick Sinner, and you don't want to stereotype too much, but he doesn't look Italian either, does he? Have you seen him?
Yeah, I have seen him, and no, he does not look Italian. And but I'm sure, hey, as long as he's having his pizza and his pasta before the game, it's working for him. The one thing with Sinner is that at his age as well, 21, I'm always on about this height of 6'2", 6'1", all the greats, all those big three that you had in recent years. Around about that height, Sinner fits that profile. You know, some of those big lanky guys can come through and with their big serves every now and then, but generally you've got to move well. You've got to have a really strong, infallible backhand, and it's just Sinner has a complete game, and he deposed of old Djokovic in 4 sets, so he didn't have to go through the 5 sets of Daniil Medvedev against Zverev, so he'll be fresh. Yeah,
he will be. I just was so impressed with the way he, as you say, disposed of Djokovic. I mean, Novak said himself it was one of his worst performances at a major. But even when Djokovic came back and won the 3rd set, Sinner could have got the wobbles, didn't, got through. And as you say, he'll be a lot fresher as he aims for what would be his first major. I know you like to keep up with the latest happenings on Netflix. Seen anything good that you like or something you're looking forward to seeing?
Yeah, well, look, I do work for Sky, so I should make that clear that Neon's a great platform as well, guys. So the thing is, but on Netflix there is a rugby doco on the Six Nations, Piney, and it is gripping stuff, and it really, for a lot of they've made it for people who probably don't know much about the sport, but it is interesting. There's a lot of swearing, mainly from Neil Barnes, my old mate from Taranaki. He was an old teammate of mine, actually, at New Plymouth Old Boys for a short while, and I can confirm that the swearing hasn't changed much. And but I feel like you can take it from someone who you trust and who you love. And Barnesy is actually one of the best people you'll ever meet in the game. And, he's just trying to fire people up. And that's one thing I noticed is that a lot of the documentary is spent trying to get people to go to that next level, to go to the hurt locker, to give more, And there's a lot spent on technique, which surprises me because they all play for top rugby clubs, right? And presumably most of them were in camp the last time. So they're teaching them how to hit rucks. I'm going, okay, you have to do that.
Is it little tweaks, or is it? I've often thought with cricket, like a coach, like Gary Stead. Is Gary Stead telling Kane Williamson how to play a cover drive? Probably not, right?
Probably not. Yeah, exactly. Maybe it's little tweaks, but maybe that's what the only parts that they want to show as well, because there'll be other stuff that's a bit more top secret. But I did notice that if you're spending that much time on technique with these top guys, and a lot of time telling them to believe and go hard and don't be soft, and then it doesn't leave much time for all the other stuff that maybe helps you win rugby games. And perhaps that's why these Northern Hemisphere teams don't fare so well against us in the World Cup, because they're spending so much time on technique and firing people up.
And swearing by the sounds of it as well. Can we go to the cricket? The South Africans are here. It's very much an under-strength South African side, but you can only play what's in front of you. The Black Caps have named their test squad. I really like it. I'll put my cards on the table nice and early. I like the squad that's been chosen. Have you given any thought as to the way you think they'll line up in these test matches in Mount Maunganui and Hamilton?
I haven't thought about the actual 11, but I just think that, it's time for Rachin Ravindra, isn't it? And I think he'll, Ross Taylor wanted him to take over immediately. And I think his theory is that even if you bring in an experienced first-class cricketer who's 30, they know their game so well, they probably will average, a good amount by coming in because they just understand the game. They've seen a lot in their time. They're sort of not fazed by anything. But then, what's their potential? And I see with Rachin Ravindra, the potential is huge. We just need to sort of give him that faith and let him play. And also a really good spin option as well, which is handy. And then Glenn Phillips, I think teams do need a hard-hitting lower-order batsman. It's been that way since the days of Gilchrist and for us, Chris Cairns and others. You do need Brendan McCullum moved down to 5 for us, remember, for a while, and gave you that chance. We had DeGronholm, I guess, the chance to accelerate the score. So I'm excited about Phillips as well.
Do you think Will O'Rourke will get a game? He's coming in for the second test only by the looks of it. So they wouldn't bring him in unless they were going to play him, would they?
That's the thing. You'd hope so. I think he should. I think if they win the first test, surely it'd be nice to give Will O'Rourke a run. Mind you, Matt Henry carried the drinks for so long, didn't he? And that's one of the things I've always thought, that I want Henry to be fit for a long time just so he can get some games. And he does in one day, as he's been our go-to there. But even in test matches, I'd like to see Matt Henry bowl a lot more. But yeah, Will O'Rourke, why not? I mean, this is the time to sort of try something new.
I wonder whether it's Wagner who comes out for that second test, and just to keep him, because Neil Wagner's integral, even at his age, and we only have to think back to last summer with what he did against England. But I wonder whether if it's Wagner who doesn't play the second test, and O'Rourke comes in for him, so Wagner can play the 2 tests against Australia.
You might have just answered your question about Wagner, though. He is vital in match-winning situations.
True.
I think. I don't know, dropping Wagner, that will just fire him up for the next time when we come back and prove a point, right? That's all he does, is prove everyone wrong. Before we move on to the Phoenix, I was going to mention as well, if we run out of time, Arena Zabalenka, who won last night, the Belarusian who beat Zheng Qinwen from China. So Zabalenka, a lot of people she's made her name in the last year, but at 25, she's at her peak, so we've got to watch her as well in terms of her rise. That's going to be fascinating on that front. And so many young players in the women's draw, plus Naomi Osaka coming back after having a baby last year. That's going to be, in some ways, the most exciting or the most competitive side of tennis, I think.
Indeed. All right, let's finish with the Phoenix. Look, I said to my wife the other day, I almost preferred it when they were kind of, from week to week, they'd win one, then they'd lose one. But as they're keeping on winning, I'm starting to get too nervous to watch them now.
Well, now you expect so much, but they still seem to be the worst team in the world at back passes. Some of their passes back to the keeper. A recipe for calamity. Most of the time we get out of jail there, but it's what we've got in terms of depth and style of play. So we play the ball on the deck a lot more. Piney, you'll know this better than me, but I feel like when we had the Oscar Zavada approach, which was to put it on the back post for the big pole, we were just hoping that he'd get up and nod one in the goal. And he scored a great goal off the deck, and maybe he's happier as well. I mean, Polish players are the Brazilians of Eastern Europe, remember, Poland, and so, I'm just making that up. But the thing is,
I was scrambling for some sort of source there.
No, I think every Eastern European country claims that when they have a good generation of players. But anyway, I think you might enjoy the ball being played on the deck because that was a great goal. But for you, and I liked one of your tweets, so obviously a lot of them, but last night you were talking about being old. He's a creative midfielder from Auckland, I think, everyone mentions he's a great golfer, but now surely this is going to be the last season we see him in the Phoenix colours.
Yeah, absolutely terrific player with a really high ceiling, I reckon. And yeah, just the way he moves, and you just get a feeling about certain players in any sport, right? You see a player, and as I said, and I don't want to pump his tyres up too much, but you come back saying, pump away. He's the business, and you're right. I think we should enjoy him while he's here, because he may be on the fast track to somewhere elsewhere. Hey, James, always good to chat to you. Thanks for taking the time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Anniversary day in Auckland tomorrow, so you'll have you got a day off, or are you're back on the tools?
Well, I'm back on the tools. Everyone loves to call them the tools, really, but yes, I am. I'm under the headphones and on the keyboard at Crowd Goes Wild. We've got a show, and of course, there's two big NFL games tomorrow. They're conference finals, but let's just be honest, semi-finals or semi-finals if you're from America. And my team is the Detroit Lions, so it's a big day for me as we face the 49ers. Let's go Lions.
We'll rank outsiders, but funny things happen in elite level sport, as we know. James, thanks as always, mate. James McOnie, Crowd Goes Wild, Alternative Commentary Collective, and right across your social media platforms as well. Best place to hear him, though, right here, Sunday afternoons at around about this time.
For more from Weekend Sport with Jason Pine, listen live to News Talk ZB weekends from midday, or follow the podcast on iHeartRadio.
This week on the Parenting Hangover podcast.
Do you use off-peak power?
No, 6:59 a.m. I go to the meter box and I just shut it off. Whole house is just dark. They'll survive. Like I said, they eat Weet-Bix, right? They love Weet-Bix. So the milk will stay cold in the fridge. The showers will still be warm. Am I onto something here?
I feel like you're taking the piss.
I'm not. And then 10 a.m. or as soon as they leave, boof, put it back on.
The Parenting Hangover with Clinton Jordan. New episodes every Thursday on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.